Marchionne from Learn Language Hoboken.
Mm-hmm.
So when we met, and this is going to be ridiculous, and first thing I want to do before we start the interview is publicly apologize. I never really wanted to hurt anybody with these podcasts, and I just didn't know how, guys, but I wasn't able to clean myself up after yoga today. So my hair isn't perfect, my beard is not trimmed, and I know it could be disturbing to the audience, so I just wanted to acknowledge that, and now we can move on. So we met in yoga, but you know my cousin Damien.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so I love entrepreneurs because I know how just ridiculously hard it is and challenging and pushing it, but what it does is it ends up adding so much to other people's lives. So learning Italian is a dream of mine, and I have invested a large amount of time studying Italian. And I don't know if my brain is broken, but it would be so cool if I could just throw a couple Italian lines out there or understand a conversation when it's going on, and you help people do that. So before we get into that, can you talk us through how you learned Italian after growing up,
Yes.
which is more,
Later
they
in
say is
life.
more difficult.
Yes.
So if you can enlighten us on how did you actually get on that path?
Actually, yeah, that is something that I also specialize in. The fact that I did learn it later in life, I like to, tell adult learners that it's never too late, because a lot of people do have that mentality that, oh, it's too late, and oh, I always wanted to do it, and it's really never too late, but we'll get back to that later. I actually took Italian in college at the age of 19, so it was the beginning of my sophomore year. I was originally doing a 5-year master's program for special education, and my degree was in psychology, and in order to get into that program, I had to take 4 semesters of a foreign language. Wow. And I did not want to take Spanish because I took Spanish in high school, didn't feel like I really learned much, absorbed much, and so I said, oh, my last name's Italian, why don't I take Italian? No, really, that's kind of how it happened. And so then that first semester, I remember loving my teacher. She was really animated and really amazing. And I remember really picking it up quite easily. I still struggled with it a little bit, but I just had a passion for it. And then that summer, I did a study abroad program, and that was where it kind of just took it to the next level. I really, in 6 weeks, I learned a lot. I came home, getting by, speaking, and then I was done with my Italian requirement for that program, and I said, I can't be done with Italian, and I totally changed my whole college career to focus on Italian, and I did more study abroad programs, and then I moved there after university, after I finished.
Where did you move?
I moved to Pistoia, which is in Tuscany. And
where is that?
It's
specifically
about 35 minutes northwest of Tuscany. It's on the railway line towards the seaside. So it's one of the stops on the train. Pistoia, Montecatini.
Marina de Massa.
Yeah, I believe.
That's where the World Kickbox Association had us down there, and they gave us lasagnetti. They gave us 15 courses. This guy, it was just amazing. The Italians, you got to understand, if you don't go there, you don't understand how awesome each meal is. The beach town has better delis than New York City.
Oh my God.
You are getting 15 different prosciuttos. When you go for a little drink, they give you stuff.
It's amazing there.
They don't want you to leave the tables. I don't know if people realize that. So it's set up and organized where you just sit at the table, and if you stay there for 2 days, they don't care.
Yeah.
They're go ahead.
They're
I don't
happy.
care. Sit down.
Yeah.
Which I'm not used to.
Yeah.
And that's what you do at night. You sit at the square, and you just relax, and you eat lasagnetti.
It's a different style. It's totally, as Americans, we're used to something totally different, that when you go there and you experience that, there's something called il bello far niente, how beautiful it is to do nothing. and it's
I
like
need that on a t-shirt right there.
Isn't that amazing?
Don't think about this. Is what we need, culture we need to bring up.
And it's really cool because it's part of their life, especially in the summertime. I mean, everything closes down. They just relax. They just far niente al mare. So,
We got a special guest here.
Keep the door open because no one else will walk around.
Well, no,
No, close the door.
we're getting a lot of racket.
Sorry, guys. This is what I have to deal with on it. I'm trying to go create a national show here, a national brand. We have people sending letters from Brazil. I don't think it's a coincidence that 2 Brazilians came to my class. And I was saying that Brazilians are the new Italians in America.
Yeah?
Like, people love Brazilians like Italians. Yeah, Brazil's
awesome. I would love to go to Brazil.
So
Us too, man. That's
people are writing from Brazil, and they're clouded as being the best fitness. They're writing to this show. They're saying, Mike, how can you help the Brazilian population?
Wow.
Korea, we have a whole gym out there. Ukraine, big supporters. Russia right now, we're having problems with that audience. So I just want you to know that Matt just ruined. That's like Katie Couric is talking. Matt just comes in and gives Katie Couric the middle finger. So back to this enchanting story, or how we should maybe live life with a little more openness to doing nothing, because ultimately in America, I see people doing a lot of stuff but actually accomplishing nothing.
Exactly.
So they're
I
just
mean, I
running
do
around.
that on a daily basis.
they're
That's
running-
the story of my life.
They say if you see the guy running around the office with a phone on his ear with papers in his hand,
Yeah.
that's the guy you give a raise to, but literally he's doing nothing.
Yeah.
He's just running up and down. That
Yeah.
man's busy. So you see that in Hoboken and New York City. It's more magnified. In the South, it's not as much.
Yeah.
They have a similar philosophy, but you have to build it into the culture so that the wait staff it can live, which I believe they get paid salary versus tipping. Because when you hear, they don't get tipped there, you're like, what are they, slaves? I mean,
Yeah.
how don't they get tipped?
Yeah.
But no, they get a salary, so they don't want to flip tables as much. Therefore, you can have a successful restaurant with the focus on food, and the wait staff is not trying to kick the family out.
Yeah. To get the next table in to
next
make
table
the
in.
buck.
Of course, now it's probably harder to. The Italians are very entrepreneurial. I think their history of being importers and exporters and trying to get, they do a lot of that, and they go into, if they do dealings in Russia, they go to Russia, like a percentage of population, so then they can have ports. And I'm making all this up. I mean, I have no
Yeah,
idea.
no.
No, in Venice,
I'm just
in the
shaking, yeah.
Venetian culture, that's what they did. So the blueprint is similar. They have great coast, so they have great importing, exporting ability. Plus, they have that unique little boot thing, which is Turkey just doesn't have that.
Yeah.
Okay, so
And they got a soccer ball even to
They do.
kick, you know? So
the soccer
they're
ball.
just,
I
they're
mean,
just
what
lucky.
do you want? Or Sardinia. I want to go there. I want to see the ancient structures. They make the little ground up fish sprinkle you put on your pasta.
Ooh.
Sardinia.
Oh wait, aren't those little
Right.
anchovy flakes or something?
Yeah.
Ooh, I never had that.
Oh, they put it on the pot. Oh, of course.
Wow.
We got to go back there. I think, I don't know, probably Cinque Terre.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
Back to it, guys. This is the best episode because all my mind is just running fantastic things in Italy. So we want to be able to go there and really understand the culture. And like you said, and I didn't realize this until I went there, when the Italians have certain ways of saying things, just like all cultures, and that phrase, what was that again?
Che bello far niente, or il bello far niente.
Okay, so che bello far niente.
Bravo, that was pretty good, actually.
Grazie,
Very
grazie.
good.
So then we don't have a term for that here. So if you don't understand the language, you won't understand that concept as much.
Yeah.
So when we were boot camps, it was always like, we want to make a life-changing event so that people can learn, like their brain can think completely differently. And if you teach them the language up into it, then you immerse them in it. You make it impossible for them not to talk anything but Spanish, English, Portuguese, whatever it is. And then after they come back, I bet the learning curve for language would be much, much higher because they're working toward that event.
Yeah.
So I'll describe how I tried. I mean, I picked up a little bit. Each place we went to, Paris, Italy, Costa Rica, I studied the language for about 12 weeks before. Okay, and I learned a lot through hearing. That's why this is also an audio podcast. So, what are you going to say, Dylan? That's auditoria? Auditoria?
Got you in my ear.
Oh, yeah, right. Okay, so when I listen to, say, metaphysical stuff or biology or what am I thinking about? Physics, I learn it. The concepts roll through my head, like I can visualize them on my own as I'm listening to it, and then I can recreate it and explain it. But with Italian, I did a couple courses with Pimsleur, who's using they have a doctor saying that the repetition timing is important, which I'm sure it is, but the amount of time that I spent, probably an hour a day for 12 weeks, to my ability to actually speak, or I was learning things that were obsolete, which happens a lot in language learning.
Yeah.
Right? Because when I was stepping into a cafe and saying, no?
No, I'm saying you probably, they weren't giving you the tools that you needed to put you in that situation. So.
And they should explain the situation. So now I'm going to mix up Spanish and probably Italian, but is it pregunta? No.
That's Spanish.
That's Spanish. Prendo un caffè.
Prendo un caffè, sì.
But in Venice, if you didn't say, you walk in, you say caffè.
Okay.
That's what you say. If you don't, they just think that you're a tourist. And I like to blend into the local culture.
Yeah.
So if I learned from a teacher, maybe I would have known to eliminate that and stop wasting so much time.
Because actually, prendo un caffè is not really what you should say when you're ordering it. You should say vorrei un caffè, which means I would like. So it's a different, like if you just said prendo, it's like I'm getting a coffee. You're telling them that what you're doing, kind of type thing, you know, like rather than saying, could I have one? You know, like, oh, is that what you're doing? Like, well, who's going to give you one?
They know not to mess with me, and they know I'm strong.
They knew you were seeking.
I said, prendo un caffè.
Adesso.
Adesso. Now. Yeah, they probably did. Every day we would walk up and I would bring a troop of people kickboxing through one of, I think it was how do you say Main Street? Strada
Principale. La strada principale.
Yeah, I don't know if that was the name. There's Venice. Have you been to Venice?
I have,
and they have from the rail station, they have a long road that runs all the way deep.
I know what you mean, but I don't know the name.
So we would go every day with like people are there to visit for tourism.
Yeah.
People have their gloves, their hands wrapped up. So the locals, after a couple of days, they started like cheering us on and saying, "Oh, can you be my friend?" and stuff like that. And the school kids would come around in the vaporetto and do the dun dun.
No way,
dun,
like the
dun.
rock.
Yeah, it was amazing. We found a little section on the now I'm forgetting even that the main river. Grand Canal. Okay.
It was an old church.
Yeah, an old church that was being restored on one side. I mean, this was probably from like 1600s.
Okay.
And it would be us, and then a couple, homeless people passed out from the night before, and we would just work out right on the Grand Canal.
Way.
We tried it in a park. Yeah.
Wow.
So.
Yeah. So right where the church.
I don't know where that led us from.
Into the canal.
Yeah. So.
They had that space freed up because they were renovating it.
Okay.
So we just took it as our own little space.
Yeah.
It was just like a little dock into the canal. Yeah. So as everybody from the water could see what they thought, people were training for a fight or something.
Yeah.
So then they would say, "Hey, you fight Mike Tyson. You fight Mike Tyson."
Is that what they were saying?
And that's why that got me back to the prendo un caffè adesso, right now.
Bravo.
And we would just drink non-stop amounts. So we would go from one coffee shop to the next, and I would get them hyper caffeinated.
Yeah. And then they'd run around like punching walls.
We would go to the market, and I would show them the beautiful thing about the market there is it's a super inconvenient city. They have no storage space. Okay, so people complain about this for New York, but they have an island where they grow most of their fresh vegetables right off. It's an island, and the fish come from the I guess that wouldn't be considered a sea. That would be the lagoon,
Mm-hmm.
maybe. And everything's at the market. And then when we went to a restaurant, the same fish, the same vegetables that we saw were in the meals, because you have to no storage space.
Yeah.
So we'd buy a bunch of stuff, bring it back, and then I would put on a special about Venice as we ate.
Yeah, that's a
Parmesan.
cultural thing too, I think, just using what you have. Because my husband, I don't know if I told you that, he's from Italy. He's from the north of Italy. And every week we do something called svuota frigo, which means empty the fridge. So
Really?
we do like a dinner with whatever we have. Tonight's actually a svuota frigo night. And
What a brilliant concept. I
yeah.
really want to take that a second, and we'll do a whole breakdown.
actually, I've had the idea to do a show on that,
I
so
would
let's
do
not let anyone steal that idea,
listen,
because that's a great, that's actually like a great like
no, and there's going to
reality
be 50
TV.
copycats
Yeah.
immediately on saying that.
But how cool would that be?
Oh, it's a great
It's
idea.
like, because like right now we have one pork chop, like a head of cabbage, onion, whatever, and you just have to do like whatever with it.
Sometimes it doesn't turn out so good. I try to mix things together
Yeah.
that are like, but when you mix sauerkraut with cheese,
Yeah.
that's not good.
No.
But I did langostinos and some fresh herbs and butter.
It was good.
It was good, right? Even a little chili stuff, which probably.
So
and a
you
little
cooked
cheese.
there a lot when you guys were
Oh
there?
no, I'm talking about in the house.
Oh, okay.
No, but I wouldn't cook. We would go get the 100 grammi Parma prosciutto, prosciutto di Parma.
Di Parma.
De Parma. And people talk trash on Italy, saying, "Oh, Venice, their food, it's not that good." Compared, are you crazy? They have 3 different prosciuttos
Yeah.
in every supermarket in Venice. You go to Paris, 0 prosciuttos. You go to Paris, 0 house wine. In Italy, they're like, here's drink wine. I don't care if you're 8 years old.
Yeah.
Start drinking it.
Yeah.
And we'll do it for free. Just start drinking it. You want a Coca-Cola? $5. $5 for Diet Coke. Then I said, guys, at first I was like, don't drink any calories. Don't.
Yeah.
And then I was like, drink wine.
Yeah.
Well, everybody has a pitcher of wine. Even the World Kickboxing Association president, he's a doctor. He's a child psychologist. At lunch, he has wine, and we had quite a bit of wine. So
And then did you work out afterwards?
No, we just
okay.
he showed us they do a 6,000 person expo that has different martial arts. We were kickboxing in Costa Rica, and there's a lot of Italians from that Tuscany area in Costa Rica, in Tamarindo. They own a big section. And he saw us kickboxing. He stopped us. He's like, well, come to Italy if you're ever there. And we're like, okay. So we did boot camp, took a train down to Marina da Massa. I think it was Sebastian was the guy's partner's name. Michele is the... Christian. Michele, I forget his last name, but he took us out to this place called the Pink Elephant. 7-course meal right on the water there. Everything came fresh. Finish it with lasagnetti. I went back twice on that trip. It was fantastic. I don't know where that story came from, but where did that come from? Where am I getting that from?
The food.
The
Italy.
food. Oh, Venice.
Venice.
What I'm saying is,
the fridge.
yeah, Spain, from what I hear, because a lot of times you need a little bit more mixing than I think Paris has. Paris has fantastic fondue, has great bread. It's their bakery. When I was up at 5, they were up 2 hours before baking bread. Appreciate that. But I don't think there's a comparison personally.
I don't think
I'm sure
so
there's a
either.
lot of
I'm
French that are going to
partial.
say otherwise. So your husband has a brilliant thing, or this is something Italians do, clear the fridge out?
I don't know if it's all Italians. I actually learned it more from him because he specifically calls it that. And but I just think it was back to the point of like how they're fresh ingredients, they use what they have, and they're not as wasteful as I don't want to say we are, but in a way we are, how many times even myself I throw a lot of things out from the fridge, and I actually hate doing it more and more because you really can kind of mix and match and make something,
Well, I think that's real Italian cooking. Italians cook what's fresh. So it's extremely regional. You think spaghetti and meatballs, but it's not like that. because
I
they're
don't think we had any speaking
no,
in Italy that we've ever been.
They don't really.
we did a little bit different. I mean, Tuscany, you need a lot more pasta. In the north, it depends, whatever they have, they're going to eat that's fresh. And also, there's a lot of ingredients that work well with each other. So you don't run into situations where you have, sashimi from last night. Maybe that would actually work for Italians, and meatloaf and gefilte fish.
Yeah.
You can't mix those up so well. So, and I'm jumping all over, which I do. Learning language, we'll recap on that. And I also want to bring up something later that maybe you could point out common differences you see in your husband and philosophies of his life, because you're coming from a completely different upbringing. So I'd be super interested in learning that. So when I did the 12 weeks and I had great motivation and I was only able to speak a little bit of Italian after all those reps, how was your teaching method going to be different than that?
Well, you're comparing it to Pilsner. That's what you use.
Yeah.
Pimsleur approach, which is the CDs. And a lot of people even ask me about Rosetta Stone. And I've actually never used either of them, but I obviously know what they are and I kind of know what's out in the market. And I don't compare it to us because it's really not comparable. It's totally different. You're learning with another human being. And I don't talk poorly about them because I actually think that they could be a really good supplement. And I always tell people, like, if you want to do it, that's a great supplement, but I don't believe that's the only way. I could never learn like that. Like, I'm not a very diligent learner to sit down and listen to something and repeat it, and I would get bored way too fast. Like, I need the interaction, and in class, especially, we have group classes or private, so whatever floats your boat, but our group classes are awesome because you're in the boat with other people and you get to practice what you're learning directly with the person next to you while I'm listening and correcting pronunciation, and it's just a way different experience. It's definitely more immersive.
I know that Rosetta Stone can't be that good because they are in the marketing community. They're put up there with Proactive and a lot of companies that have Proactive. There's so many different Anthony Robbins. Their marketing company is so good at marketing. They get somebody from NASA.
Yeah.
And if you work at NASA, if you clean the toilets out at NASA, and they can say, well, NASA employees use Pimsleur. Well, what are you guys studying? What are you studying? Greek?
Yeah.
For space?
Yeah.
What are you guys doing up there? So you can just slap that on, and then you put commercials on, and then people buy it, never open it, because you need
crazy.
the accountability and to have a human.
Yeah.
I want to shout out Hunter Motz's book, The Straight A Conspiracy. One of my Twitter friends, a genius, knows multiple languages. He, in this book, basically rethinks the educational system and talks about how important it is to the emotional state for the students. So they need to be in a proper emotional state to learn, where I think that I'm scared to go into language learning in a group, which is probably something I should do. So me being scared and tense when I'm trying to learn the language is not going to help me. Do you think that is? Or?
Can I add a little something to that? Because I definitely think, obviously, having fun is also like the mental emotional state when your body's safe and you feel good. But I do sometimes say to my students that a little bit of uncomfort is obviously good, because it's like your brain, like even when you're working out, right? You're not really doing anything if you're sitting there, lifting a 1-pounder. Like, you're really building your muscle when you're burning, you know? So like when you're learning, obviously it's going to be a little bit stressful, I think, because you got to push it to that.
Because when I first started, I started in bodybuilding, which if you think I wasn't doing bodybuilding, but the training type is similar. After you do it for a while, you're just bored out of your mind, or you stick with it and you don't evolve. Then you try what they would now call CrossFit style, where you're supersetting big compound exercises together. At some point you say, well, I'm bored of this, or for me, I'm too comfortable with it. So for working out, I'll do it. For kickboxing, and then to yoga, because I was getting bored with for my personal, I need to be humbled. I need to be uncomfortable, because then I know ultimately I'm going to be better.
Exactly.
And the people that don't do that, especially striking wise, and you could see them, they can't tolerate being uncomfortable, which is not a good way to learn anything. It's impossible, actually. So you stop evolving. But I think people, after they leave school, say, well, my brain is set. Now I'm going to stop. Now it stops, so I can't learn anymore.
Yeah.
But really, they should have a renaissance in their life and learn a language. I think it's something we can't take away. So I guess what I should do here is really commit. We're going back to Italy, okay? I'm learning how to speak Italian at a basic level. So when little hoodlums try to take my pocket money in Naples.
You could say, scappa via, vai via.
Oh, this one little kid, we got off the train to Naples. Everything else is put together so nicely in Italy. Rome, they're brushing the streets perfectly clean every night. Like, people out there, they have pride in the city. We were like, let's go to Naples. That's where Mike's from. We get on a train. There's just so much busted glass in between each brick, and little kids trying to shake you down as soon as you get off the thing. And he was like, I need some money or something like that. And I think I said like hello in Italian to him, and he looked so confused. Or I said, what did I say, Christy? Maybe.
You were saying something over and over again, and the kid was trying to ask for money, and Mike was saying,
prego, or no?
Something like, you're welcome. Or
Prego?
Something.
Yeah, prego.
This
Okay,
kid
I knew it.
It was really confusing.
He was like, never mind. He stopped asking you.
I had to take Christy to the first pizzeria, or they say the first pizzeria ever, and we're sitting family style, and they're like, how many pizzas you want? We're like, one, because there's two of us. They're like, one pizza?
Yeah.
What are you talking about? That was the first shocker. And then the family next to us, we're looking over, and they get their pizzas. We're like, Chrissy's looking at the husband. Oh no, man! He must not be able to use his arms. He must have, got injured from the war or something like that.
Yeah.
Because his wife is cutting up his pizza into like little tiny, bite-sized pieces.
Okay.
And then when it's all done, then it's all done. He's eating the pizza.
Totally fine.
So that's a culture shock there.
And then I started laughing.
You know this about Italians.
Yeah, but that's crazy.
Your
That
husband's
is
not
crazy.
looking for that, no?
Oh my God, he's not like that. He's from the north, though. I'm not gonna stereotype north and south, but he is not like that. He does.
How many
that
people are
for
in his
me.
family?
He has one brother,
Older or younger?
younger.
Wow.
But
Really?
no, it's totally different. His family,
sure they're
his
Italians?
family's not like
They're not super Italian.
They're Italian, but they're not super. They don't fit a lot of the stereotypes that you would think. But
His
it's
mother's not like got little head cloth on.
No, his mother's like
Screaming like
super cute, and she speaks like 5 languages. She's like super successful in her business, and she's really cool, actually.
Bravo. Where are they from? The north?
Bologna.
Where's it?
It's
Bologna.
Yeah, it's not far from
Bologna.
Venice,
Yeah,
so it's like
yeah.
kind of between Venice and
Yeah,
Florence.
they're much busier, faster people up there. No,
Yeah.
compared to Italians.
Yeah.
But the mothers generally take care. They say in Italy that the first brother is going to go to school, the second one's going to run the hotel, right? No, that you've never
Run
heard
the
this?
hotel?
Or,
No,
yeah,
I never
or run
heard
the
this.
restaurant.
Of
Like
the family,
they have,
yeah.
Their whole focus actually is on the first boy, because they say that if that boy is in place, then the other ones will follow.
Yeah. I feel like that's so old school, though. I actually don't know if Italy. I mean, I guess it still does in some places, but as far as like some of the people that I know in Italy, actually, it's changing. It's modernizing. Like it's definitely
I don't
that
think
part
it's a
is
good
kind
thing. I
of.
think it's bad.
Yeah.
And I was at the not a good side of it, because my brothers would just leave their plates, and my mom would clean them.
No way.
And then like clothes, just leave them. And where I was the one that were like,
You were the young one.
I was
that
the
always
girl.
helped. Okay.
So they're like, guess who's cooking? So I actually learned how to cook, and I said I learned how to knit.
Mhm.
I knew how to do anything, clean things, and prepare
I saw
food.
the episode on your mom.
Did you?
Yeah,
She was so
she's sweet.
didn't want to come in here. I knew she was going to be good. I could have made, and Mom, you should have came in. I could have made her cry in a second. Just said, Mom, I love you, and then make her cry on it to get ratings next time. My father, when he comes in, that's going to be the best.
Yeah.
We're going to shut down the place. It's going to be shutting down. We should have a studio audience because he's going to tell you some stuff. So back to this magical trip to Italy, or actually, let's talk more about your husband, if that's okay.
Sure.
Okay. So is there anything else you notice that is different from like his mindset that he assumes to be true, and you assume something completely different, or concepts as let's clear the fridge out, let's make a meal based on what we have?
I'm trying to think right now off the top of my head. It's actually kind of hard to think of something, but I will say though that I thought I was a really hard worker. Like I, growing up always really worked hard, and I thought, oh, I'm the hardest worker I know. And then I met him and I was like, wow, he puts me to shame. He's a really hard worker. Yeah, I don't know if it's an Italian quality or his quality, but it was, I was like, whoa, okay, like slow down. So he's really
his quality. Now, not that, well, does he still kick back and try to embrace the food? It sounds like.
Oh yeah, I mean, food is a big part of our lives, definitely. Like in enjoying it, because that's one thing that he cannot stand is when we go out to eat and we pay and it's not very good. Yeah. And it's like he's like, I'd rather cook at home because you know what you're getting and you know it's good. And he is very, very
Do you
good
watch
cook.
TV while you eat?
No, not. Oh,
Okay.
no,
Well, I was just
never,
making sure.
never. We don't really watch that much TV. If we do, we watch HGTV. That's the only thing because you don't need to watch it consistently. You can just turn it on.
Home and Garden?
Watch. No, I like Love It or List It actually, or
I watched. They had that on. I go get my hair cut at V's. It's supposed to be like Americana barbershop. They got like Mark Messier pictures and Michael Jordan, and they have TVs for everybody. And they had that show on, and it was an episode. Yeah, this guy's describing what he did before he was a real estate agent. It's hilarious, very funny, but it was it was ironic, Dylan. Irony. So I think what we can come out of this, because Dylan's saying, oh, I got to do more important, musicians have to come in, and they were good. Dylan, if you don't know the studio, Triple Colossal Studios, they have some amazing musicians come in, and creative types like myself and Dana. So he's kicking us out after a certain point. I don't know why I'm mentioning that. Anyway, back to Italy.
Question from Twitter.
All right.
My son is 3.5. What language should he learn?
So the question is,
in addition to English.
Extremely intelligent and possibly super genius child at 3 can memorize names. If he meets you one time, he knows your name.
Whoa.
And he'll remember it.
At what point can he start learning Italian? And can we get together maybe a children's? That would be tough.
I have a children's class.
Oh, you do?
Yeah, we have a children's class, and I have a 3-year-old group. That would be perfect. If you want to come next Monday, let me know. But
what time?
3:15 to 4.
This is a Twitter question.
So back to your Twitter question. So basically, though, that's kind of hard because I think based on the parent, they should really choose the language if you have like a heritage of some sort that you want them to learn. Whatever, Spanish because your family is Spanish, then it would be a personal thing, I think, as far as the language is. But that age, key, even before.
Look, can I even point something out here? And even before is correct, because we had Kristen here, and we're talking about how even in the womb, maybe listening, talking Italian helps. You don't even know the connections. And I pointed out there were so many pregnant women that have taken my class for 9 months. And then they have the baby, and I'm screaming on top of my lungs in class, doing positive motivation for this baby. I should be charging more. The baby, when they take the baby in, it just sleeps during my class.
We lost
Mike.
Lost your mic. Freaking out.
Just when I was saying the baby story. Hold on, Dylan. I'm sorry. Okay.
Too much talking.
Too much, yeah.
But this is the Italian episode. Okay. Hi guys, we're back. So my baby story again. How I am infiltrating the womb with positive energy, positive words, just positive feelings, and then the babies, when they come back, they enjoy it. where if other babies come in, they can't tolerate it. It's I think it's a phenomenal thing.
Because they're used to your voice, probably.
Yeah, it makes them feel good. They're motivated.
Yeah.
They start doing workouts.
They start punching the punching bags, even if they can't reach it. They're like.
So if you're 3, and I was pointing out that my family, and at the time I completely understand it, said don't teach the children Italian because it's going to ultimately hold them back. Because you want them to be as Americanized as possible. This is a different time when they came over, Naples, that whole section, southern Italy was devastated. I think that's why they came over here. I heard they snuck in. I don't know why. So don't not teach her. Is that a double negative?
I mean, that was generations ago.
Yeah.
It's totally different.
Okay.
Now. Nobody
Well,
understands
now
You don't think in the Spanish community they're possibly contemplating that?
But they're automatically teaching them Spanish, and they're automatically learning English because they're in this country. Because they're second generation, so usually they're learning it because their parents still do speak it at home. Because usually when the parents come over, just like your great grandparents, right? Their kids learned English automatically. They had to learn some to communicate even with their kids, but as far as communicating with each other, they learned still, or they still spoke that language.
Don't disagree with me on my podcast. Okay. I'm pretty sure my interpretation. Okay.
There's never anyone saying don't.
Never. Not a single person in America.
One person that's
Is
saying,
there one
I don't
person?
want my child to speak anything but English.
Well,
Well,
I did hear.
Dylan,
Go to the Midwest.
go to the Midwest.
Absolutely.
Dylan
Dylan's
knows how to
backing
run a
you up.
podcast. Yes. All right. No, I agree.
If they were given
It-
the option to offer it, though, who's going to say no? Absolutely no other language, only English.
If I take you,
Come to where I'm
yeah.
from.
So a lot of Laos and Vietnamese were moved to Michigan. I bet your ass they're like, don't talk Vietnamese because we're in Michigan, okay? So we got to assimilate quickly because it's going to benefit this family. So maybe it's a bad idea. And probably if I learned Italian through my grandparents, through Hoboken accents, it would have been not even anybody could understand it. I know we're getting off in tangents. They love the tangents, though. This is what they like, especially the Brazilians.
Have you noticed
Koreans.
that, Dana, the difference in how people from Hoboken speak Italian?
Yes.
What is that? Because I can't figure it out.
Well, I would say it's dialect because there is Molfettese is a dialect.
I don't know
but
if
it's
they
also
say
if you mean
Molfettese, you kind of said it with like
Molfettese,
Like-
they call Molfettese. That's what they call it, Molfettese. But
Muffy. They just shorten everything. That's
exactly.
it. Mozzarella, mutz.
yeah.
They
just take like the vowels. Well, it used to be take the vowels off a thing. Now it's like shorten it to a 4-letter word
But
when it was like a 10-letter word, But
they were smart enough. They purchased most of the corner properties in Hoboken because they were like, you can build the biggest on this one.
yeah.
That's what they did.
It's
I'm just pointing out. And one day I will go back. I have my attorney in Italy, Mario, and I'm going to go back to Molfettese and reclaim what's mine and tell them
Nice.
that I'm the king here. I made it. I'm back. Don't worry. I know they were concerned, but there's a lot of Andreulas actually in that area. It's like Anderson.
In Molfetta, that's where it is.
And I think about my ancestors must have been like savages because they survived. Forget about just the Romans,
Yeah.
right? They must have been. But in that section of the world, they've been around so long. Everybody's ancestors, but the Muftes, incredible. They must have been laying bricks like this. It's continuous fishing, making the mozzarella. All right. So in the short time we can get these children to learn it quickly.
I think that, well, I know that from age, from birth to 3 years old, you're learning the most that you're learning in your whole life. Because think about it, you're learning how to crawl, how to walk, how to speak, how if something's hot, that your senses, they're evolving. So when you're just immersing them in a second language, it's obviously going to help. And I know a lot of people get scared, and that brings me to what you were saying before, like maybe people are afraid to have their kid learn a second language because they think it's going to hinder their English learning, which, you know, I had even a woman tell me that she stopped speaking Spanish to her son because the doctor told her that he was late to speak or something, and then she stopped speaking, so he was the only kid that doesn't speak Spanish. And she's like, if I just would have kept going, it would just a little bit later, you know. So
it's so good.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, Dylan, our Twitter person out there, maybe we can shoot a little episode. I bet that little genius can learn faster and than most people.
Let's do you versus Max.
I bet
learning
Max
Spanish.
can learn. I'm gonna actually put a bet, and I'll do some ridiculous thing, like release the geisha video that Mike Pedicic has. If Max, I'm betting on Max though, which isn't fair, but I'll try my hardest. I bet he kills me in that. What can you? And it would be cool, even if they mess it up, and it's like instead of him saying hello in the morning, he says "Buongiorno, Papa."
Yeah, well, that would be
Like,
right, actually.
That's Italian. Please don't say that.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's like, prendo un caffè. Our really good friends from Padova, their pasta brand, Nonna Cara Nonna. I'm sorry, guys.
And Francesca,
Cara Nonna,
gluten-free pasta.
Francesca, gluten-free pasta. We met them there from Padova. We met them through the gym. And I was like, can you cook for us the first time? I was like, I know you're importing Italian food.
Yeah.
So I'm assuming the cooking skills are high, and they're fantastic people. I don't know why I got into that story, but Francesca, Roberto, we should all bring them down and do a big Italian summit.
Where are they?
They're in Jersey City.
Cool.
They do all the Italian events, but it got me on thinking, just daily things. Roberto, I was like, Roberto, what did you eat when you were little? Like, what was in the morning? He's like, bread and Nutella. I was like, okay. And then what about in the afternoon? He's like, I have a coffee. I was like, how old were you? He's just like 6. I was like, you have a coffee? At 6. At school, I was like, what did you guys eat at lunch? Take, a little box of lunch? He's like, no, they cook pasta.
Yeah.
At the lunch.
La Mensa. Yeah.
At lunch, the school's providing delicious pasta. It's not bullshit. Delicious.
Yeah.
What do you? This is incredible school day.
Yeah.
And then you go home and you have a meat and cheese plate and
you have merenda, which
you're
is
6
snack
and
time.
you have like you're watching DuckTales with a little vino. You got your feet kicked up. What an amazing way to raise a child. So there's a lot of different ways to raise children. We're gonna have to get back. Is there anything you want to say to them right now about? We didn't even get into being an entrepreneur. We're gonna have to have you back.
Yeah,
if that's
definitely,
cool.
definitely.
But right now, let's focus in on language learning. That's the hot thing. That's what they can do in the summer. So tell them how to contact you, and maybe.
Sure. Well, you guys, we have group classes that are starting basically every 4 weeks for adults and kids. So you can just contact us by going to our website at www.learnlanguagehoboken.com or give us a call at 201-253-0035.
And Twitter wants to know, what languages do you teach?
We teach Arabic, French, Spanish, Chinese, and Italian now.
Wow.
Awesome.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
Well, I'm going. I'm definitely going, without a doubt.
Yeah,
So
you got to stop by.
let's start with the name Marchionne.
Mar. So we'll break
Mar.
it down like we always do with everything. Mar, chi, on, ne. Marchionne.
Marchionne.
Bravo, okay.
Dana Marchionne. I just want to do that intro super quick again now that we post-wrapped. What's going down, guys? Michael Andreula here, up in Triple Colosso Studios with the team, breaking down Italy, breaking down delicious food, cultural differences, ways to improve your experience in daily life by maybe thinking out of the box, and how to learn language, how to, especially if you're in Hoboken, how you can do this in a quick, particular manner, how you can do this very fast, and we're doing it all with Dana Marchionne. Not bad or good?
Good.
All right, guys. Thank you very much. Namaste, Mother Effers.
Cool. Fun.
Yeah, we do need to come bring it back for
yeah,
the,
we got a lot. We got a
entrepreneur
lot
talk.
more.